But we found there's a strong connection.
What's up, guys? Welcome into another episode of Corruption Connection. I'm your host, Tony Hernandez. I don't know how many of you have seen this movie, but Money Train back in 1995 was one of the hottest films out. It starred Woody Harrelson, Wesley Snipes, and Jennifer Lopez. It takes place within the New York City transit system. The story revolves around two undercover plainclothes cops. So it's a good movie. I'll be reacting to the scenes. Stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoy. And if you guys have any questions or any comments, concerns, you already know, leave them down there. And if anything you don't want to say publicly, my Corruption Connection email is corruptionconnection718@gmail.com. I'm also available on Instagram. This is going to be like a watch party where we're going to go through the movie. I'll make some commentary. I'll pause. We'll go through the scenes. We'll kind of explain like what's real, what's not, what's fact, fiction, Hollywood, etc. So stay tuned. In this scene, let's pause it real quick. As you can see, they're all coming out, they're strolling out into the car, and you can see John come out dressed as a wino, and he's all dressed up like, you know, a prime target for the lush workers, doing his little drunk jig. We all had our little, this is a real depiction of what cops do. We left the precinct like that. We would all put on our gear. Some guys would put on the MTA vest. Other guys would dress like a bum. I dressed as a wino, as a bum, just like John's doing right now, acting drunk, putting stuff in a bag, acting like I was drinking, hitting my vape, just doing wild stuff, sitting next to homeless people, you know, kind of blending in order to, you know, catch perpetrators in the act, depending on what was going on in the subway system at the time. So this is real. So what you'll see here is 1,000% accurate. What we would do a lot of the times is hide in these MTA rooms that have double-faced mirrors or a black screen or even catwalks in certain stations and look down on the public and watch what you guys were doing. So in this instance, you'll see Woody Harrelson and Jennifer Lopez, who plays the new partner, Grace Santiago, kind of shadowing and watching over John Hook as he plays a drunk train passenger. This is 100% accurate. There's actually been many times that I've been behind these doors spying on the public without them even knowing I'm there. A lot of the times in the train car as well, we would hide a lot in the back of the train car and kind of watch what was going on, keeping our eyes on to see what would go down, because everybody knows that in the back of the train car, anything could go down. Fights, gang initiations, as far as slashings, robbings, rapes, forcible touchings, the dancers, you name it. The back of the train car is like a whole different world. They kind of think that they're all by themselves. And then before you know it, you have 2 or 3 cops hiding in those little train cars watching what you're doing. Now the MTA, I believe, has implemented cameras so they can kind of watch from a distance, but this is 100% accurate. And I can go over specific stories with you guys in regards to me hiding and catching perps in the act behind those two-way mirrors. I'll get into some in some separate episodes so that way you guys can kind of get a feel for what it's like. But this is 100% accurate. So you can see in this scene, John has got some bait here. 2 females kind of see that he's down on his luck, looks a little drunk, might be an easy target, and they want to take him home. One of them, by the way, we have Janice Soprano here from The Sopranos. This is hilarious. I forget her real name. But yeah, as you can see, Janice Soprano and her sidekick here want to take this guy home. In order to obviously take advantage of him, they see him as an easy target. This is where I believe the law got a little gray, because were they criminals? Yeah, you can't judge a criminal by, you know, never judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a criminal, or they come in all shapes and sizes. But it looked like maybe these 2 girls were just opportunists. So I feel like a lot of those opportunist type of crimes, they started classifying as entrapment, which kind of maybe put a nix on the whole decoy program. A lot of lawsuits. One thing the city hates is lawsuits. At the end of the day, what to save money and to save not? Was it more cost beneficial for them to have this unit or take the unit away and get rid of the lawsuits? I'm sure it came down to something like that. So we see J-Lo steps in here. Officer Grace Santiago kind of saves the operation, which is great. You know, she's a great tactical cop in this aspect or whatever. In order to not blow the whole operation and keep it going and not identify himself as a police officer, she was able to get in there in order to facilitate the continuance of the operation, in order to chase these two girls away, because they really weren't the big fish that they were essentially looking for at this point. So if you can see, he gives the sign, he tugs at his collar, and when he does that, they don't know what to do. She gets in there. Charlie lets him suffer a little bit, but they kind of squash the situation, and very well handled by Officer Grace Santiago, J-Lo. So as you can see now, we get a knock on the booth clerk's window, and a scary looking individual comes up with some marks on his hand. Let's check out what he wants. Sprays some kind of liquid accelerant on the toll booth clerk. It's about to light her on. Unfortunately, there's tons of mentally ill people roaming the streets of New York City, and things like this do happen. I mean, he could have just took the money. You could see she gave it to him. She's pleading. She said, I gave you the money. But for him, it's all about hurting her. You know, that's the thrill for him. He's not in it for the money. You heard him say it. Luckily enough for her, we have units in the station. They see what's going on. It's not too late. John Hook hops out of character right here, breaks character in order to save someone and prevent serious physical injury or death, which is common for a lot of plainclothes guys to do. We'll break character for sure if we see someone that needs help right away. That's Hollywood. No cop will ever jump across the the tracks like that. As you can see, she needs help. He's got his shoulder pinned to the post, which they do teach you to do in track training, so that's real. In the NYPD, we don't fight fair. I told you, J-Lo went down there, Officer Grace Santiago. She's down there by herself going after this sicko. And in a one-on-one, you never know. Not only, you know, she's a woman, a lot of people could say that, but even if she was capable of handling herself in a one-on-one, you got to outnumber them. We don't fight fair. I say this in a lot of my interviews. You're 1, we're 2. You're 3, we're 4. You're 5, we're 10. Just the way it goes. Biggest gang in New York City, we don't lose. In this instance, Hollywood's taking over a little bit. You know, I think cops would, essentially take the risk of jumping into the fire in order to save this woman. But a lot of times what you would do is call FD, kind of figure it out, and go from there. But there's a person, in immediate danger, in need of help. Kudos to them. I know a lot of cops that will run into the fire, and I know some cops that will run away from the fire. It is what it is. So I want to thank you guys all for tuning into this watch party. I'll be breaking a lot of stuff down into clips and stuff on my YouTube. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, I'm your host, Tony Hernandez, and this is Corruption Connection.
What we found is a strong connection. One of deadly violence and organized crime.